Yeah. Anytime I cover the World Championships, it usually involves some kind of a controversial play during a medal round game, and then we get into who's not playing for their countries, and we get into that whole thing. I don't really want to talk about that. See, right now the top four, so your medal round teams are gonna. It looks like it's gonna be Finland, Canada, Germany, and USA in Group A, and Germany's been quite a story again. Group B, you got Russia, Switzerland, Czech, and the Swiss. So, or Swedish, I should say, Sweden. Swiss aren't in there twice. Um, which would then have Latvia, Norway, Austria, Italy missing in Group B, Slovakia, Denmark, France, and Great Britain missing in Group A. Now, as a Canadian, I'm spoiled. We are spoiled. We are spoiled with hockey rinks everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's a hockey net somewhere. Whether it's on your neighborhood street, which it is on my street because, of course, we have one. And there are numerous other hockey nets you'll see if you walk down the road, and you'll see kids playing street hockey from time to time. Not like we used to in this country, but it still happens. And for instance, today I'm going out and playing street hockey myself. And I did when Clayton came over the other day, and it's part of our fiber of our being, and it's not even a, oh, do you want to play hockey? It's just, well, we're out here. There's a hockey net here. Do you want to all right, so we're playing now. And even if it's just practicing, passing it back and forth, it's part of who we are. Um, the stories that get lost in the World Championships are the stories of the teams that qualify. So, like Great Britain in 2017, they're in Division B. They earn the right to be promoted to Division A. Last year, they win Division A to be promoted to the World Championship. So while we fans in Canada can look and go, I wasn't very happy with how they played that game. They're all right now. I don't even know if I'm going to watch. For players in Great Britain, a team that scored 4 goals and allowed 31, they're having the time of their lives. Because they're playing against Canada, they're playing against the Americans, they're playing against Finland, they're playing against some pretty big competition. Now, there's a chance that Britain gets relegated back down to Division 1A. And it looks like Italy's going to be the one that gets relegated, although between them and Austria, who knows? Austria scored 6, they've allowed 28. Italy scored 1, they've allowed 45. Great Britain beat Italy last year 4-3. Big part of the reason that they're here is because of that win over Italy, and then they had a win over Hungary to get to this level. In order for hockey to really truly be global, in order for us to really truly have this sport, I think, at the best level you can. And for owners in the NHL who like making a lot of money from a lot of sources, encouraging hockey's growth at every level, both men, women, anywhere in the world, works to their benefit. There's an article, and I was hunting for it, and I know I'll find it as soon as this video is done. An article I read, and I'm pretty sure it was one of the yearbooks, not that I can find it, on Irish hockey and Ireland and how Ireland is trying to get on the hockey market. And then I looked on the current IIHF standings. They don't show there. They don't show as being one of the top 52 countries. Whereas Great Britain currently, according to the Wikipedia entries, number 20, the IIHF official standings on their site still show them at 22 from their standing last year. So Great Britain's moving up, no matter what. And that means something, because when hockey was in its infancy, you're looking back, 1920s, 1930s, Great Britain was actually a pretty big player internationally. But they didn't have a National Hockey League. So the National Hockey League itself helped to cultivate this religion that hockey is in Canada, and mean that our greatest injustice is that, the Winnipeg Jets got taken away from Winnipeg for a while before they went back. I know the Quebec Nordiques are still an injustice that's waiting to be righted, but then you look at, I watched a video on Great Britain's team and what they went through just to get into this tournament, just to be one of the top division teams. Get a chance to get destroyed by Canada, get a chance to get destroyed by Finland and the Americans. It's such it's eye-opening for me because, I realize there are players on the British team that were born in Canada, because there were some names I saw and I went, I recognize that name from NHL games on EA Sport, or like on my PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, I recognize that name. But it's funny because I know, in Canada we just kind of go gold medal or nothing. There's some that go, well, Canada didn't win gold, so that was crap. Canada finished fourth. What a crappy team. And for me personally, I've always kind of viewed it this way, especially when it comes to the World Championships. They're very important in Europe. I would argue they're more important in Europe than they are in Canada and the US. Definitely more than in the US, where they get very little play, unless the Americans themselves are doing well. The Russians take them very seriously, clearly. And so I don't have a problem with, if Canada goes out and has a poor game against, say, Denmark, and they lose to Denmark. I look at that and I go, well, good for Denmark. It'll get more play in their media than it's going to get here. Here it's just going to be, Canada lost a game to Denmark. Didn't show up for that one. Whereas in Denmark, it would be, wow, beat the Canadians today. This is awesome. There isn't enough attention given to some of these countries. And I know people are going to say, well, that's because they aren't any good. But for hockey to grow, it needs to be played in more countries. This isn't just about, reaching out and making sure hockey's inclusive to everybody, regardless of their race, their whatever, right? It's also about what countries they're in and trying to really market the game globally. Because I really, truly believe that hockey is the best sport. It is absolutely fantastic for its speed, its physicality, and just for the talent, and just for how difficult it really and truly is to play hockey well. The British team, it's a good story, and if they end up getting relegated, it'll be a shame. Same with Italy. Italy getting bombed in this world tournament, and then they get to go down to the division below and try to fight past countries like Poland and Hungary that are hoping to be the next country to come up and get destroyed at that level. So I wanted to do a video where I discuss this. And there are times where I look at the double IHF rankings for all these countries and I say, wow, United Arab Emirates are in there? That seems kind of odd. That'd be an interesting story to do on the United Arab Emirates and their hockey. So I'm kind of doing this video to kind of keep myself honest at a later date, that, and maybe during the summer I need to do a series on countries that we don't talk about with hockey. Their run with hockey, like Ireland. Ireland to me was really, really interesting because hockey should work there, but there weren't any rinks until approximately 40 years ago, according to what I was reading from the Irish International, or the Irish hockey site. That they have their own league, but it's not. I think there's like 300 or 400 members of it, and it's kind of like bring your own gear, and so. Hockey is in its infancy in some countries, but the passion is still there. So I think on a certain level we can look and we can go, well, we're way better than them. That team isn't any good. We beat them, 14-0? But for the guys on that team and for the fans that support them, the passion's there. So Team GB definitely has a following. And I will say, World Championship jerseys are usually not very attractive. Britain's is nice. It is, with the lion, with the Union Jack in it. That's very nice. Just that is very, very nice. And I'm on some level rooting for hockey to get bigger in some of these countries, because then it affects and it benefits the NHL. It's really, and it comes back to when Kirk gets drafted last year, and you look at Nathan Walker, and these stories can be big for these guys in their home countries, and it can encourage other guys to play. It's no different than Austin Matthews making it to the NHL as a top prospect, and people pointing and going, this guy's from Arizona. This proves that hockey works in Arizona. I would say that with the right investment and rinks built in the right area, I think hockey can work anywhere. But I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Because again, we're coming up to the medal round, which for me, it's almost anticlimactic on some level, because it's always the same countries against each other, it seems. And you don't get that underdog storyline, and because that's just the way hockey works, where yeah, a Canadian team is going to beat a team from Great Britain 8-0. Of course, for these lesser teams, they may look at a play where it's like, hey, look, he stopped Jack Hughes. Look at this, and you might look at that and say, that's fantastic. That's big, and it may get some play in the media at home for them as well. So it's more of an over the summer kind of thing because we have the playoffs, and by the time like today I would have more time to devote to it, the round robin's pretty much over. And so those underdog stories are almost done. But I'm going to start bookmarking some double IHF sites and maybe start covering the Division 2, the Division 3, the Division 3 qualifiers, where we get into all of the lesser countries, because while a majority of my channel's views are from Canada and the States, vast majority, there are fans in Europe. There are fans in European countries that nobody would think people would be watching videos from that do. People in Africa, people in Australia, New Zealand, and whatnot. So it's a very interesting thing to look at, the whole global phenomenon that hockey could be, and it kind of feels like hockey blows it at times, and it would be interesting to see it handled properly. And I don't know. We'll see what happens in this tournament. We'll see if we get a surprise gold medal game or what takes place. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If videos that I would do on the roster for a team like Italy, Austria, Great Britain, if that would be something that would be fun to do. I never meant to end up just being an NHL guy. It's just the NHL always has so much news and so much going on. And by the time I'm done all my NHL videos, I'm not really one with enough energy left to cover absolutely everything else that's going on. And everything in the world of hockey gets to be a lot of information, a lot of teams, and a lot of stuff. But it would be fun to cover emerging countries in hockey and places where hockey properly cultivated, like United Arab Emirates, which really just stands out to me on so many levels. That is so fun. But, you know, that's the kind of storyline that I like. You look at Norway and how Norway seems like they're maybe on the verge of moving up as a country into one of those stronger hockey nations. And it is some interesting stuff. And, of course, you know, Denmark, Switzerland comes to mind as one that's really pushed its way up. And, like I said at the beginning of this, Germany. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.